Have you ever felt like there is more inside you? More you want to do, more you want to become, more of the life God has placed on your heart? But at the same time, you feel overwhelmed trying to figure out where to begin. Maybe life feels busy. Maybe your responsibilities feel heavy. Maybe you have dreams inside of you, but you are so tired from just keeping up with everyday life that it feels hard to even think about the future. I understand, and that is exactly why this series has been about preparing ourselves before we ever sit down to write the dream God has placed on our hearts. Because before we can clearly see where we are going, we need to create space in our hearts and in our minds, space to hear from God, and space in our physical environment. Today, we're taking a step that may seem incredibly simple, but I believe it is more meaningful than it appears. We're talking about making your beds. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Making my bed? How is that connected to my dream life? But stay with me, because this isn't really just about the bed. It's about creating order where we can. It's about beginning our day with intention. It's about creating a cozy, peaceful environment to return to at the end of the day. And it's about learning to care for the life God has already placed in our hands. Throughout this series, we've been exploring the things that help us prepare before we write our dream lives. We've talked about prayer, spending time in God's Word, guarding our hearts, being mindful of what we allow into our minds, speaking life over our futures, and today we're taking that same idea and bringing it into our physical environment, because our surroundings can either support the peace and clarity we're seeking or add to the noise. When life feels overwhelming, sometimes we think we need to fix everything all at once. But sometimes clarity begins by simply caring for the next thing in front of us, creating one peaceful place, taking one intentional step, beginning right where we are. You might wonder, how does something like this connect to preparing for my dream life? And I understand that question, but throughout this journey, we're learning that clarity often begins with small, intentional choices, because small actions create momentum. When we take care of one small thing in front of us, it creates a sense of peace and readiness that can carry us into other areas of our lives. Making our bed will not change everything overnight, but it can be a quiet reminder each morning that you are creating space for the life God is preparing for you. It is a moment to slow down, to be intentional, to care for the place where you begin and end each day. Big changes are often built through small, faithful steps repeated over time. The Bible gives us such a beautiful foundation for this. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." Whatever you do, not just the big things, not just the things other people notice, even the ordinary things. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." And Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much." Faithfulness is built in the small moments. It is built in the everyday choices we make when nobody is watching. What is interesting is that the research supports this idea too. Small actions can create momentum. When we complete one intentional task, it can make it easier to continue making intentional choices throughout the day. Making your bed does not magically transform your life, but it can change the way you begin your day and can create a feeling of peace, accomplishment, and readiness. Sometimes the first step toward a more peaceful life is simply creating one peaceful moment. Here's some ideas to get started. You can pull the covers off the bed. Think about it as a fresh start, a reset, a way of caring for the place where we begin and end each day. I want to encourage you to really make your bed. Start with stripping it completely. Take everything off. Your sheets, your pillowcases, your blankets, your comforter, your pillows. Open the windows if you can. Let fresh air circulate through your room. Let the sunlight in. There's something so refreshing about allowing fresh air and light into a space. Wash your sheets and pillowcases. Wash your comforter if it needs it. And if the weather is nice, consider hanging your linens outside to dry in the sunshine. There's something so peaceful about fresh, clean bedding. While your bedding is washing, take a look at your mattress. If it needs some attention, this is a great time to care for it. You can find some wonderful videos that walk you through simple ways to clean and freshen your mattress. One simple option can be sprinkling some baking soda on your mattress, letting it sit while your bedding is washing, and then vacuuming it before making your bed again. If your mattress can be rotated, this could also be a great time to do that. You can take a look at your pillows. Are they still supporting you? Can they be washed and refreshed? There's some helpful tutorials that can show you how. And if your sheets, pillows, comforters, or mattress are worn out and need replacing, don't feel pressure that you have to do everything immediately. Your family's needs and your needs come first, your bills come first, your groceries come first, but you can make a plan. Maybe you can set aside a few dollars or a little change even from each paycheck. Maybe it takes a few months, maybe it takes longer, but that is okay. Little by little, you can create the space that you are dreaming about, a comfortable bed, a peaceful place to rest, a space that feels like a gift at the end of your day. When you put your bed back together, do it intentionally. Smooth the sheets, fluff the pillows, arrange the blankets. Create a space that feels cozy and inviting, not because someone else is going to see it, but because you deserve to come home to a lovely place. After a long day and caring for others and carrying the responsibilities life brings, you deserve a place where you can breathe, a place where you can rest, a place that welcomes you. And friend, if you're watching this and thinking, my room is too far gone, I have too much to do, I don't even know where to start, just start here. Just the bed. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to have your whole life figured out. Create just one peaceful, clean space, one intentional space, and let that be your beginning. Before we sit down and write the dream God has placed on our hearts, we are creating space to think, space to pray, space to listen, space to recognize the desires, gifts, and dreams God has placed inside us. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from adding more. Sometimes clarity comes from creating room. Room in our hearts, room in our minds, room in our lives. And sometimes that begins with something as simple as making our bed. So this week, I want to invite you to try this with me. Give your bed a fresh start, wash the bedding, freshen the mattress, open the windows, let fresh air and light into your room. Create a peaceful place to rest, and then tomorrow morning, make your bed, not perfectly, intentionally, because the small things we faithfully do each day help create the life we are preparing for. I would love to hear from you. Do you already make your bed every day, or is this a new habit you would like to start? And if you're starting fresh this week, Share below so we can encourage one another.